Okay, we are recording. Joining me today via the means of Zoom, Pigg. Hey, Jess.
Hiya.
How
How
are
are you
you?
doing? Yeah, good. I've just woken up, to be honest. I'm a bit cloudy, but I'm good.
Healthy, cloudy, like of.
Healthy cloudy.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, that's a point where I generally have to start the conversation of every podcast this way now. And normally it was always like, how's things, how's the weather, and stuff like that. But now it's that inevitable kind of how have you found the last 10 months? And I'm going to ask you that, Jess, as both
Yeah.
Jess the human being and Big Pig the creative.
Yeah. I mean, the last 10 months have been a bit wild now, to be honest. What was happening? Oh, do you know? Okay. So obviously the first lockdown happened earlier last year. And I think, yeah, I just met a fellow that was from Dublin, and he was lovely, a great musician, but and then we just kind of, I think when you're under pressure and you're kind of like, what's happened, the world is ending, you kind of just like attach yourself to the closest person. So we decided to move in together, and that was really intense. It was great, but we'd only known each other for like a week before, so it was a lot. It was good.
Wow. And then straight into lockdown.
Yeah, straight into
Oh, wow.
lockdown. I know. I know, yeah. Looking back on it, I'm a bit like, fucking hell, like, yeah, impulsive, but it's grand. And so that went on there for about 4 months. And we were in this flat in East London because before that I was in a different living situation. And then he moved back to Dublin, and then everything went up the shitter, of course. Sorry, can I swear here? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, grand, good. And then what happened? And then so I moved into a different place there in East London, and then that the people for the flat there came back. So I was like, fuck. So then I went back to where'd I go then? And then I moved to another place then in Forest Hill, and then was happy there. I was like finally like settled, everything's good. And then yeah, that went tits up there for a while as well, because there was just a lot of here we can get into that, but it's a lot. I love the story, but and then so what happened then? And then so I was just like kind of had enough there at this point. I was like, oh, my room's going. I need to move somewhere again. I'm sick of moving. So I just said, well, I'll just cut my losses, and I think I'll just move to LA because there's a project that I'm working on that there's a fella here that's produced basically 90% of it. So I was like, I want to just be here with him and finish that. And
So where was that? Where are you now?
LA.
LA. Right.
Yeah, so I've been here now for the last 2 months, and I'm just happy and settled and not moving now for a long time, I don't think.
Well, at least you ain't been bored. That's a lot of moving.
yeah, it's a lot more than I'd like it to be, but it's it was definitely a bit of a chaotic time. Like, and then when there was like periods where I was just in one spot, creatively, I mean, just before the first lockdown, I had a lot of creative ideas and everything else, and it was great. And then lockdown hit, and I was just a bit like, I think I was just trying to understand what was happening. I didn't really have time to even think about, even like put things into words. I think I was just a bit like, oh, this is all a very new way of living, and there's a very like new person in my life, and we're just like in this house together, and there's no one else in the world that like we can see right now, and it's so it was just a bit, it was a bit.
I mean, if you ever needed to describe the word intense, that's quite intense, right?
Yeah, it's like the plot of the end of the world. But it was it was an interesting time, definitely, but I just didn't really feel creative, to be honest, and that kind of went on for a long time, and I was worried for a bit, because I feel like when you rely so much on like getting a buzz off, I mean, I definitely do anyways, when I make a tune or whatever, when I'm proud of like something I've made, I kind of have this like, it gives you like a burst, because you're like, oh, like you finally, I think it's almost a self-worth thing as well. You kind of get this thing of like, oh, I'm worth something because I can make something even when I'm feeling shit. And so I think that whole period where I just didn't feel like I could create or feel like that was in the place to, it just felt a bit like, what is my purpose? Like, I don't really understand what I'm doing and who I am outside of music. And there was all these questions. And then after the first lockdown. I don't know, when things were eased in London and people started to go back to studio and everything else. Then I had a good streak again, which was great. And I went and I made some shoes that I'm really happy with as well. And it was just nice to get back into it. I felt like such a relief. And I really feel like I don't know, I think it definitely gave me perspective on like appreciating the fact that I have that. Do you know what I mean? Or like that
totally.
I don't know. I feel like very lucky to be able to do that and to be able to do it as much as I can, you know? And so, yeah, it was definitely a bit of an eye-opening year.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, let's talk records, and I'm going to ask you, Jess, for track one, the song that you regard as having the greatest ever intro, please.
Oh yes, it's Guinness's by Madlib and featuring Angelica and Four Eyes.
Mm-hmm. And you chose that, why?
Because the intro and that, I feel like the characters and the way that he has always done that, I mean, like, yeah, it's just incredible. And I feel like with that particular intro, whenever I listen to it, it just brings me into this like comic book world almost. And he does that so well to where like when Angelica comes in like straight after the intro, I feel like she takes on this character of the woman that like has just spoken, you know, on the character, how do you say it? On the like voiceover just before. And yeah, I just feel like the way that he's laid that out just like is perfect, and it brings you into a world. And I think that's really difficult to do, you know. So
as I guess it's, you know, safe to say, you know, a relatively new artist, you know, that's breaking through now. Just, I'm just always interested in songwriters and how they approach intros, and in a world now where music and the way that people listen to music is very fast and very almost disposable, and I say that with the greatest respect, where there's so much choice now. And I just wonder, the fact that, you know, people are so quick to flick to next tracks now on whatever streaming service, is that a consideration when you're approaching writing intros and things like that as an artist?
Writing intros, I feel like there was definitely, I mean, on the second EP that I made, there was a track, I think it's actually called Intro, but the intro bit was when we were in the studio, and I just called up an ex of mine now, but I called him up in the studio, whatever, just to have a chat and just to capture that little bit to like give some context to the rest of the song that was about him. And like, I feel like I think I definitely considered it more back then. I feel like right now, like the intro still plays a big part for me, but I haven't been as conscious of it, if I'm being honest. I feel like I'm just so focused on like, I don't know, I guess the rest of the track. But I think I probably should go back to thinking about like that, because it is nice, and it builds story so well, you know, and it gives so much. The little details are always like the bits that kind of build the track and make it feel like, I don't know, make it feel like you're actually diving into something. So yeah, I feel like, I don't know what it is though, but yeah, I think you're right. I think within the last couple of years, especially with like TikTok culture and all that, and I feel like tracks are so like, I don't know, everyone wants what they want now, and it's like, I don't know, there's no real patience with it. But
what I just noticed then that as you said TikTok culture, I gave like a really kind of knowing nod,
which is
like,
so sad.
Like, and I just think, I don't know what the fuck TikTok is. I know it's the thing that my kids do, but I sort of gave this really kind of serious nod, like, yeah, TikTok. No idea. No idea.
Well, to be fair, now I just made that sentence up just there, but it's like, I don't know. I guess it's just that thing of like 30-second videos or 30-second this.
Completely.
Do you know what I mean? And its attention spans are gone down so much to the point that like, I know that I even do it when I'm looking for new music sometimes. Like I'll get into like 15 seconds of the track sometimes, and I'm a bit like, oh, do I feel like I want to continue this? I mean, it's like, what? Like, why is that a thing now? I guess we're just so quick to write things off, you know?
Do you still like listen to an album occasionally, like as a body of work, like an album from start to finish?
Yeah, it's rare, but I definitely do. Like the Brent Fires album is one that I always go back to, like from top to bottom. I just feel like it's better appreciated as a whole body of work, you know?
Yeah.
And there's definitely a few that come to mind when I'm thinking like that. Like even the Mike Skinner, A Grand Don't Come For Free. like an incredible album, but I feel like you need the context of the other tracks to
It's a
actually like
concept, isn't it?
understand
It is a concept.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
exactly.
100%.
And I feel like those, yeah, exactly. And I'd hope, yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, it's a cool thing to be able to do that, but I don't feel like it happens as often as it should anymore. But
I think we just live, where a lot of people use streaming services and playlists now, and
yeah,
and obviously a lot of people go onto iTunes and kind of cherry pick the tracks they know rather than take
you're
the
right,
gamble on the
exactly.
album.
Yeah, exactly. And there's even like I've had conversations with people where they know, like they might know a song from an artist, but they don't know the artist,
Yeah.
Or that happens a lot. And I know I'm like that sometimes too, where I'm like, oh, I love this track, and they're like, who's it by? And I'm like, geez, I couldn't tell you actually. And it's like that's mad, because you'd never have that back when, who do I think I am? But back in the old days, can't say.
All right, well, we're going to take you back to the old days anyway, Jess. For track 2,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you the first song you remember hearing that had an emotional impact on you, please.
Yeah, so that's Ben Harper's "Another Lonely Day."
That's a beautiful record.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful. It still makes me cry. Like whenever I hear it, I just well up. Like I feel like with that track, it was when I'd moved from Ireland to London, and I was 14 at the time, and I didn't have a school for a while, and I just felt super isolated. Like, didn't really have anyone to talk to. There was like no one my age. I was kind of working in like, I don't know. It was a weird time and a really low point, I think. And I was just scrolling through YouTube, and I'd never really used YouTube before, and I was just like, what is this? And then I think somehow I stumbled upon one of his tracks, and then I found Another Lonely Day, and I literally every single night without fail, at the most angsty thing I ever done in my life was just like shut the door at the bathroom door or my bedroom door and just put it on and just cry and just be like oh my God. And he's like still one of my favorite musicians. I idolize that man. I don't get starstruck easily at all, I don't think. And I don't feel like I put people on a pedestal that much, but I feel like with him, like because of how much his music meant to me in that point of my life, and like still does, to be honest. Like I think if I'd ever met him, or I even saw him doing Instagram live, and I was just tearing and just crying my eyes out the whole time. I just love him. I love him so much. I think he's brilliant.
And that first time you heard that, you obviously chose this as your choice. Like, what was the emotion that you felt?
Just like complete loneliness, I think, and just like really felt like kind of like the only person in the world that felt the way I did, and it just kind of felt like no one ever could understand, like, because no one's in this position, which is like obviously not true, but it's just like that's the way you're thinking, I think, when you're in that kind of in headspace. And to hear a track like that described exactly what I felt and put it into words like so much better than I could have, I feel like that just really hit home. And I was just like, oh my God, like this is like, yeah, it felt like if you felt like a bond with it, you felt like a soul bond with it, because you're like, oh my God, like how is that possible, And I think that's when I realized that the power of music, and the way that like he might have written that 3-4 years before I'd listened to it in a place like I don't know how many miles away, and like for me 14 in the bathroom on the bathroom floor, just like the world is like there's nothing here for me. And to hear that then, and to feel like, oh, do you know what, I'm not alone in this, and even like if I'm going to sit in the sadness, I'm not going to sit in it alone, And I think
that's so good that I love it when artists purposely don't ever give you the backstory on the song. Because it's up for interpretation, and it's like and I think it's just really important that, because I've got songs that will literally rip the art from my chest, that might have literally been something that he wrote on the back of a fag packet in like 5 minutes, and whereas you hang so much on these songs, and I think it's just really, I really like it when as curious as I am, but when an artist will just go, oh, do you know what, I don't really sort of say it. It's, people can take what they want from these records. And I just think that's a really nice way to kind of leave it, just completely open for interpretation.
I think that's incredible. I feel like even like myself, and I know this is such a like, everything to say, but I feel like whenever Like even when it comes to like PR questions or and it's just like, well, what's the song about? And you just sometimes you just like just listen to it and just feel how you feel about it, you know. And I think I don't know, and of course people want to understand what it's about, but I feel like it's so much more beautiful when you've put something out there and you've just gone, that's all I need to, you know.
Absolutely.
And then other people can kind of work it out, and it's just I think that's gorgeous. Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's brilliant.
Well, you mentioned that you moved to London from Ireland at 14. So I guess the next song, we'll find out a little bit more about that. So for track 3, Jess, I'm going to ask you to song that reminds you of your time at school.
Time at school? What would that have been? Oh, Velvet Underground, Pale Blue Eyes. Is that it?
I mean, that came out before even I was at school.
Well, I was thinking now, like sixth form college, so I would have been like 16, 17. Oh, yeah, I would have been 16, yeah. And I made this friend, because the thing is, I went to an all-girls Catholic school until I was about 16, whatever, and I hated it. Like, I absolutely hated it. The only good part about it was like the music section where I just would be all the time. But then I went to, where did I go to? Oh, yeah, I went to Richmond College there, and I met this fella called Connor. He just like wandered in one day and I was like, who is that? And we just like hit it off straight away. And we were inseparable. He was like my best friend. And first, like, I think like kind of male figure in my life that wasn't like weird. It was just like really like just a good person, like just like chill, like no kind of, I don't know. He just saw me as a person rather than as like I don't know, something else. And I feel like we just had this like really, really incredible friendship. And he opened me up to a load of music as well. And Velvet Underground were one of those, that song in particular. And he used to always sing it. So it just reminded me of him. And it reminded me like the times that we used to spend together. So I just thought I'd put that in there because that's, whenever I hear that, it brings us back.
It's a beautiful, beautiful record. And I'll tell you what, if you ever get a chance, check out REM's cover of it. REM's a wonderful cover of Pale Blue Eyes.
Oh, really? I'll write it down, actually.
It's they done a kind of like a mini album, REM, and they covered lots of Velvet Underground tracks on it. But it's their version of Pale Blue Eyes. He's stunning.
Oh, really? It's gorgeous.
So at 14 to come from Ireland to London and to then jump in at a new school. Was that pretty difficult?
So the thing is, I've been used to it because I actually grew up in Spain and I had a school there and it was all in Spanish and everything else. So going from there to Ireland was probably the first move that like academically was difficult, but socially was incredible because I was like, everyone speaks like they do in my house and like everyone's like, do you know, so that was class. But then I was also like,
you love a move about, don't you?
Yeah. You got itchy feet.
We've been talking for 18 minutes and I think we've already discussed 6 moves.
I know, I'm moving from this calf now in a while. I don't know. But no, I feel like I think what was it? Yeah, so growing up in Spain, I moved to Ireland, and I think that was kind of I didn't realize how difficult it was because I was so happy with the social part of it. I was like, whatever. But like, I had no clue how to like string words together or where like you put a comma or a full stop or like, I don't know. I just didn't really understand how to like spell properly or do all this and read properly and stuff like that. So that kind of side of things and the way that they learned as well was so different. So that was all really hard. But then I was like, well, everyone's about, so it's great. And so then that was probably the hardest move. And then we moved again to a different part of Ireland and then we moved to London. And London then, actually, no, that's a lie. London was the hardest move because there was no one about. So you didn't even have the like social aspect of it. But then moving into that school, then I think to be fair, after you move a few times, you go to a few schools, you just kind of at some point, and I think with the Catholic school that I went to, I think I was just a bit like, oh, do you know what? I'm just not even going to really try it. I think I'm just going to like, just kind of keep to myself, be like, do you know what I mean? Be friendly with everyone, but I just think just kind of just head down or whatever. And then that completely switched when I went to the next school then, because you could wear your own clothes. You could like, everyone had their own music taste. Everyone was super like social there, smoking area. I was like, this is so cool. And then like went there and I made some incredible friends and like was so social and it was brilliant. And like it's weird how much I think things like expression of like what you want to wear or like, you know, like things like that can like sometimes really play into like, I don't know, they can just kind of make you find yourself in your character a bit.
110%, completely.
Yeah. No, it's true. So that was, yeah.
Did you have any idea what you wanted to be when you was at school?
When I was at school, I mean, the thing is, I loved music so much, and I went to that because I started doing open mics before I started the Catholic school, and then when I went there, I just was like, I just love music, so I'm just gonna do that all the time. But I didn't realize that you could do it as a job. Like, I didn't think that was possible in any sense of the word. I was like, oh well, like you know, like I'll always do this, but I don't really know. And then I just nothing really, like nothing else really caught my interest. Like there was, what was I doing? Yeah, I mean, like even when I went to college and I was doing music all the time, like when I was going to friends' houses and stuff, or staying back after school and playing around or whatever with friends and like in the music section. I feel like even then it didn't feel like, oh, this is something that we can make a living off. Like this is just something that we always are going to do. Like that's just, you know what I mean? It's just passion. But with and then I started doing like bar work and I was working as a poker dealer for a while. I just feel like, you know what? I just don't feel like I ever put the pressure on like, this is what I want to do. I think it was always like, how can I make money so that I can survive? And then I just like, music's always going to be something I'm doing. So it's just like, I don't mind if I'm working 12-hour shifts. Or I don't mind if I'm doing, you know, like, I think I kind of how do you work that word? Compartmentalize.
That's the one.
It. Yeah, and I think I kind of like did that where I was like, oh, work is just work, and I'll just, do you know what I mean? Work just means I can get money from it and I can kind of survive and it'll be fine. Whereas, yeah, and then music, I'm so lucky, but naturally just kind of found its way into being like everything that I did. I mean, it was everything I did anyways, but it's something now that I'm like living off as well, which is just nuts. But yeah, I don't think I ever really thought that I could do it as a profession, but here we are.
Do you think like the fact that you'd moved so many times and gone to so many schools, that had given you an element of confidence that you could apply to walking on stage? You know, you said you was doing open mic nights at quite a young age. You know, do you think you know, would you say you was confident at that age?
At that age, you know, I was so confident. I still am, I think, of like talking to strangers or like meeting new people. And I think at that point I was just so desperate to like just talk to someone. So I feel like with the open mics, I get nervous and stuff, and I still get nervous about stage, like getting up on stage. But once you're there and once you close your eyes and once you like get into it, it's the best feeling in the whole world. Like it feels so good. And I think, yeah, and then the community that I met in the open mic nights, like I think they played a huge part as to why I used to go back. Like we'd go like 4 times a week and it would be all of us and we'd all meet there, and they just kind of became like a second family. They were just incredible. And yeah, so I don't know. It probably did in a way. I think talking, definitely getting to know people that I don't know, that definitely came from moving around a lot, 100%, and being comfortable in situations where like you're on your own, I guess, and you're just kind of trying to work it out. Like I love that, you know. So yeah, that probably has a big part to play with it. But yeah.
Track 4, Jess. First song you remember buying from a record shop?
Oh, Rodriguez, the Sugar Man album.
Oh, what a record!
Yeah. Oh, so good. So good. I went to see him live actually. How long was it? Oh, it was ages ago now, but how long? I would have been 18, I think, when I went to go see him. He was so good though. Oh my god. I felt kind of bad though halfway through, I think, the set, because he's getting older now.
Yeah.
But I think he started playing Elvis covers. I was a bit confused, but he was incredible. Like so good. So good.
I take it you've seen the movie.
Oh yeah. Like I saw the movie before I bought the album.
All right.
Yeah, because a fella that I was with, we had this very like, I don't know, so ridiculous. Oh, it was just a very dark, romantic love that we had for each other, and I think he opened me up to a lot of music as well. And he was saying we should watch this movie, so we watched Sugar Man, and there's a tune. I don't know if it's on that album or if it's on Crucify Your Mind, but it's on one of the albums anyways, and it's called Oh, what is it called now? I need to find it because I'm actually gonna. Um, it's basically like I think one of the most beautiful love songs.
I Think of You.
I think of you. That's it exactly.
How beautiful is that record?
Oh my god, it's gorgeous. Like it
It's my
just brings me
my
back.
favourite. It's my absolute
Really?
favourite. Yeah,
No way.
because I'd stumbled across him because David Holmes put a record out in like
Yeah.
2000 maybe, and he'd done a kind of like a reworking of it, of Sugar Man, the track,
Oh
and I
yeah.
was like, wow, what is this? And didn't and I used to play it in the clubs, but I
Yeah.
never really sort of went into it anymore and found out, anything more about the artist, other
Yeah.
than it was just this weird track that David Holmes had discovered. And then I saw the film, and then
Oh
that
my
was it. I
god.
thought, right, I need to just go and buy both the albums, and like,
Yeah.
it's just, I will listen to one of them at least once a week. I just think
Yeah.
it's absolute beauty.
His songwriting is insane, and like even if you're thinking about it, especially in the context of like where he was when he was writing, what's that tune where he's talking about I lost my job 2 weeks before Christmas.
Yeah,
Do you know that tune?
yeah, of course.
Yeah, and like when you listen to that and you think about where he was at and not realizing where he like, yeah, just like living in this weird like this other world to like what reality was at that point. It's just nuts. Like, yeah,
And I
such a
should say,
beautiful.
for anyone that's listening to this podcast,
Yeah.
that the film's called Searching for Sugarman, and or Sugar Man, I should say, sorry, and just go and check it out, because it's a thing of absolute beauty.
Yeah.
It's an unbelievable story that you have to see it to believe it, and it's just pure wonder, isn't it?
Yeah, we won't ruin it for you. You need to go watch it. It's
Yeah.
like, and then watch it and then listen to the records back because
Yeah.
they're just, yeah, beautiful.
So just touching on records as well. Growing up, was there records on at home?
So, well, I grew up above a pub since I was 14 for a while. And there would always be music down there. So kind of like they had a lot of older tracks like Blue Velvet by Bobby Vinton, I remember was always playing, or a lot of Leonard Cohen, a lot of Van Morrison.
I mean, there's some good stuff there.
Yeah, yeah. It had its good days. Yeah. And what else? And then I suppose my mom. Oh, she used to love Gabrielle. So I remember like when I was growing up, Gabrielle, one track called Sunshine. She literally like even like when we were going like just like would always put it on when it was me and her in the car, and even on like bad days or whatever, she'd just put it on and she'd just be singing at the top of her lungs. And I think that's like one of my favorite memories of her. Is just like, I don't know, like when you can see a song like make someone come out of themselves and make someone, you can see them like releasing through it. And I feel like watching her do that, I was just like, this is so cool. But and then we went to see her live a good while ago now, but it was gorgeous. But
she massively underrated, Gabrielle.
Oh, I think so, hugely.
That track, is it Give Me Just a Little Time or Give Me Just a Little More Time? Like the one that just sounds like pure Atlantic soul. I can't think. Is it Give Me a Little More Time? I'm sure that's what it's called. It was a single.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So good. It's such a good pop
incredible.
record.
So good. She's still making bangers as well. Like.
Is she?
Yeah, she's still going. I'd love to go see her again, actually, because she was a great show, amazing show. But yeah.
Okay, well let's bring things forward a little bit, and I normally ask this question retrospectively as to like, do you remember your years clubbing? But you're still a wee one, Jess, so you're still out clubbing, right? I imagine. So for track 5, the song that we soundtracking or soundtrack your years in Clubland, it's up to you, mate.
Oh yeah. So Keep the Fire Burning. I just put it down because by Gwen, I always forget her second name, which is so bad. But what was I gonna say? That tune, that track, just reminds me so much of like. I mean, the thing is, I was never big on like clubbing in the sense of like raves and stuff too much. I used to love going clubbing in like where's one place we used to go to loads? The Bunker down in Dalston. They used to put down like little soul nights and stuff, or down over even in what was it? yeah, there used to be some really good soul nights around and about, and me and my friends used to go down, and I just love that music so much. And I feel like when you're up and you're like ready for like a dance, it's just like the best. It's just the best music. So I feel like that track in particular, it just captures, I think, that feeling for me. And being back in there and like everyone just being like sweating on each other and just like, oh, just completely releasing. Like it was just so good.
It's
I miss it.
it's an absolute gem of a record, that, and
Yeah,
I think
it is.
Gwen McRae's voice. I
Gwen
mean,
McRae, that's it.
if I ever had to do if I ever done this podcast, greatest intro, I don't know if you're familiar with the track "All the Love I'm Giving" by Gwen McRae.
I don't think so.
Write that one down next to REM,
Yeah.
Pale Blue
What
Eyes.
is it?
All the Love I'm Giving, yeah, by Gwen McRae. That's an intro.
I'm giving.
Yeah, if you like Keep the Fires Burning, you will love that. Like,
really? Okay,
absolute. Sick. Yeah, it's kind of real kind of soul club classic. Yeah, it's,
amazing.
Yeah, you'll enjoy that. If you're going clubbing,
nice.
Jess, what do you want from a night out?
What I want from a night out? A good dance, probably an upper, and just to, I don't know, just to connect with strangers. I think like I just love an adventure, and I feel like when I hate a rigid night out where it's like we're going over here for this time and then we're going to this for this time. I like it to be more like a festival, you know, where you're like, we're going out, we'll start here, we'll figure out what we're gonna do, and we can meet these strangers here and then maybe go with them somewhere else or whatever. And I love that. I think it's like when you can treat the city like it is a festival, it's just the best thing in the world, where you're just like figuring it out as you go, whatever. I love that so much. So yeah, I think just an adventure and just like meeting new people and hearing stories and dancing and sweating and I don't know, like just having ciggies with like, yeah, I just love that so much. Just the buzz. Yeah.
For track 6, Jess, and we'll take you home for a favourite song from an artist from your home county, please.
Oh yeah, I put down 2. I think I put down.
You did.
Yeah, David Keenan, Full Stop, and it was the Cranberries, Linger as well.
Well, let's start with with David Keenan first, because I'd never heard of David Keenan, and when you sent the list over, I've spent most of the afternoon listening to him and your last pick as well, which we'll get to. But oh my God, he's wonderful, isn't he?
He's incredible. Like I think he's like, he's just such a great poet, and I think, like highly underrated. I feel like with just the way, like you could even look like, what was it? I think he was sending a voice note or something to my ex there when they were like talking back and forth about music, whatever. And he was like, even the way that he speaks and the way that he writes messages or texts are like poems. Like it's just nuts. He's from a different century completely, like, but he's such a beautiful writer. And yeah, I've never seen him. Oh, have I seen him? I did see him live once, actually, way before I knew his music. God, that's just brought up an air memory. But incredible musician. That tune especially, actually, I think is just it really captures for me, like, I don't know, like when I look at my uncles, my aunties and stuff or whatever, you see like, because I feel like the love and art, I don't know, the like intimacy, and maybe that's just, I don't know, maybe I'm being ignorant, that's just everywhere, but I feel like when I like observe Irish love, I find that it's less so like obviously like, oh, like I love you and like everything else, and it's more like just stuff like, do you know what I mean, like cop on or whatever, or like, oh my God, like it's just like little details, I think, in the way that he picks out her dress and the way that she like, he talks about the breakfast cooking and he talks about like just like kind of the poetry of the picture, and it's like I feel like that describes it better than like I was looking in your eyes and like da da. I feel like I feel like he really captures just raw love, I think.
And that's not an easy thing to do, is it?
No, it's not. It's not at all. I think you have to be completely immersed in it to be able to write it like that. So he does that beautifully.
And you want to shout out Dolores and the Cranberries, right?
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, the Cranberries. I just, whenever I put that tune on, I always think of Ireland. I'm just like, and And yeah, I just think it was a great tune for the time it came out as well. And yeah, just beautiful song. And then actually, while we're on the topic, because I didn't even think about this before, I don't know why, but the Fontaines,
Yes,
DC.
let's talk about them.
They're brilliant. Like the whole, the last album, Even a Hero's Death, that was great. And the album before that was The Druggle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a great album as well. But yeah, I feel like they haven't missed with anything they put out. And they really, I don't know as well, I don't feel like there's many artists in Ireland that are talking, well, no, that's a lie, actually. There is a good few artists in Ireland that are talking about the harsher realities of like Dublin and the kind of politics of the place as well. And I think there's one tune in particular that I'm thinking about actually that's the one on the first album, and it talks about a woman that they pass on the street. And I think it's basically about like the heroin abuse in Dublin and how this woman's kind of caught in it. And it's just a beautiful song. It's very sad, but it's a beautiful track. Trying to think of the name of it now. Damn it, I don't know. Should I have a look?
We'll dig it out and we'll stick it on the playlist for sure.
Yeah.
So are these like? Do you? I mean, when we talk Ireland, like, are you back there very often?
Not really anymore.
Does it still feel like home though?
It does. I feel like the people feel like home. I think. Oh no, sorry. The place feels. When I go back to certain areas, like when I go back to Waterford, which is the first place that I moved to from Spain, there's this one, like, what do you call it? It's basically like a walk that you do up, and there's like this huge cliff with like this tiny little, you wouldn't call it a castle, but it's like a small little place we used to go drinking when I used to come back or whatever from London. But there was, I think that spot in particular, whenever I go up there, you can feel like, I don't know, there's something about that place that just always makes you feel so like embraced. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, like you breathe it in and you're just like, yeah, it feels really like home there. But as for, yeah, I mean, do you know, it takes a minute, I think, sometimes to get back into the swing of it. Like when I'm there for a week, sometimes I get shy and I don't really know how to talk or how to like be around people. And I think that's just because I don't know, I forget that like people I know in Ireland anyways are so like open, like they don't give a fuck. They're like, oh yeah, I don't know. And I'm like, oh my god, this is so much to take in. And I think it's just trying to get back into the swing of like, how do I talk to them? They're so quick-witted as well. Like everyone's so on the ball with it, and I'm just like, it takes a minute to catch up, you know. So yeah, I think, but yeah, I still feel like Ireland's my home. I still feel like that's where I'm from, you know, and I feel like a huge tie to it. But I think I should probably go back more often. I do wish I was more of a part of it, you know. But that'll come with time. That'll come.
For your last track, Jess, I'm going to ask you to choose a song that many people may not know that you would like them to hear.
So I'm so excited about this tune. Lady Ray, and it is Guilty is the track I think I put down. Yeah, she is insane. She is like one of the most underrated artists, I think, to ever like exist. I think she's just incredible. Her songwriting, the like ad-libs that come in, like everything about that song is just like, it brings you back to a time. It's just nuts. Like it sounds like it was written, I don't know, like in the 60s or something, with the way that like the vocals are recorded. And it's like, I don't know, she captures that love story so beautifully as well. And it's just a really powerful song. Really beautiful track. And then she's got another one called Come On In as well, which is beautiful.
Oh, that's amazing. That's literally all I've been listening to this afternoon.
No way.
I've never heard of her. And I flicked that track on and I was like, whoa, what is this? And then incredible. That's it. Yeah, she put a couple of singles out last year on I think it's on a smaller label.
Yeah.
And they're pure kind of sort of that sort of Stax sort of Atlantic.
Yeah, really soulless.
Amazing.
Yeah. She I think what I heard, and I'm not sure if this is right, but I think someone told me, because I was talking about her to someone, they were like, oh my god, I can't believe you know her. And I was like, yeah, it's sick. And then they were talking about oh yeah, so apparently Missy Elliott caught word of her somehow, I think, and then she went to her house and they'd audition on the spot. And then she signed it in there, which is such a like, yeah. And that was back in the 2000s, I think, or 2003 or something, when she released that. But it was just beautiful. Oh, beautiful, beautiful music. There's another guy, actually, if you like her tunes, and you don't know if you're going to freak out because it sounds like something from that era as well. His name's Kelly Finnegan.
Okay.
His name's Kelly Finnegan, and he's got this one. Oh, do you know what? I Don't Want to Wait. That's what it's called.
Okay.
Oh my God. And it's just a beautiful song. And it literally sounds like something from Motown. Like, it's just absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, well, we'll throw that on the playlist as well, because Jess, I put together a Spotify playlist to accompany the podcast. So when people have finished listening, then they can go and check out all the tracks that we've written about. Well, we should have pointed out we're recording this at the beginning of January 2021. I mean, we're all hoping that this year's going to prove to be far more about connection and going out and being able to hug each other again and stuff like that. What are you looking forward to personally, Jess, and what's happening professionally?
So personally and professionally, 2021, what's happening? Let me think. Well, you know, I'm here now in LA, so I think this project that I'm working on, I'm really, really excited for, actually. And it's different. It's different to my other stuff. And I feel like, not that everything I write is the same, but I feel like this track or this project in particular, like a lot of they're in the same world, and it just makes me really excited, I think, because it's a lot more kind of grungy and a lot more, I don't know. I love it. So I'm excited for that to go out. And then what else? Personally, I think I've not been drinking, really. I had like one night maybe a couple of weeks ago where I was drinking, but before that, last year, I think I drank way too much. I think lockdown made that worse, to be honest. And I think I'm really excited to not drink anymore, hopefully, and just like stay on it, because I think I don't realize how much, when you're in it and you're doing it, I think you don't realize how much perspective you lose, or how much you can kind of start to feel the effects of it, and you don't really understand why you're feeling that way. And I used to just be anxious all the time, and and I feel like I just don't want to do that anymore, because I know where it can get me. So I feel like I just want to clean slate, no drinking personally, not having any more fast relationships, although I've just run out romance with my neighbor. Very awkward in the last week, and I could feel it doing to myself, so I'm just like, stop. So maybe I'll stop doing that, but I need to stop going for intense quick relationships. Let's move in together, let's do this. So like, I just need to stop doing that. So I think taking my time with myself, giving myself patience, and just, you don't need it all, you don't need it now, you can just kind of write it and see how it goes. And and then just making sure that I'm like, every day that I wake up, I'm just kind of grateful for everything that I've got. I feel like that really does play a huge part in, like, I don't know, in kind of reigniting the happiness in yourself. I think, like, when I've been waking up recently, I've been trying to get up before the sunrise here, and just to make sure that I catch the sunrise and the sunset, and like in those 2 times in the day, just being like, do you know what? Like, just pat yourself on the back and be like, do you know what? I'm so grateful to be able to be here, like, and to be able to like just be living. Like, I think it's incredible. So I think it's just making sure that I do that every day has really helped with feeling good. So that'll be good. And then this project is working out, and then hopefully by the end of the year we'll be doing shows. But sure, who knows? Or even mid of this year, we'll see. We'll see how we get on. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I wish you all the best with all of it, Jess. If people want to keep up to speed on what you're doing, where's the best place for people to follow you?
They can do it Instagram, Twitter. We're on all the socials. So anyway, there, just Big Pigg, Big_Pigg on Instagram. I think that's probably the best one, because I usually update that quite a lot.
Okay. Well, I'll tag you in this when it comes out as well, so everybody will be able to find that really, really easily as well then. Jess, it's been a real pleasure chatting to you today.
Thank you. It's been great.
Excellent.
Great start to the morning.
Excellent. Well, look, you have a lovely day, and
thank you.
And when this is all over, I look forward to seeing you live.
Yeah, me too. Lots of love. See you later.
Take it easy, mate. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.